Midnight on Earth podcast with your host, Jake Weaver. Engineered by Cedric Swan.
Hey everybody, we are back with another episode of Midnight on Earth. I'm your host, Jake Weaver, and we're here to bring you more knowledge, more light, more love, and more news. That's right, people. It's a Beyond the News episode where we comb Earth's news feed and we find the strange, the weird, the wild, the forward progressing, the mind-blowing. We find all of these articles, all of this information. We aggregate that information. We aggregate those articles. We bring them together on these Beyond the News episodes. And this is what's happening this week. A lot to cover. It's going to be a really weird one. But here we are, back Beyond the News. And for me, I love these episodes because, like I always say, I just get to kick back, hang out with you guys, talk about Earth, just like Earth, and its stream of consciousness in a way, how we react. But it's very cash. It's very cash. And when I say we, of course, you must know that I'm talking about Brynn Anderson of Vital Force Herbs. She, again, is here with us, returning. Hello, Brynn.
Hello, Jake.
You are back, yet another Beyond the News episode.
Yes, I need to come and get my news.
Exactly. It's not just news. It's actually going beyond the news. Though, like I always say, they are verifiable, mainstream-ish news sources. That's all out there. I'll tell you the links and where to find it. Go verify it for yourself. But it's not going to probably be on the front page of a major news site, the front page of a major anything. Maybe it's sloughed to the side a little bit, just so maybe perhaps it goes just below radar. But you know what? We scoop that up. We filter that. We find those. We bring them to you. But before we can do that, let's just talk about this very quickly. If you have not done this yet, please follow me on Instagram. It helps so much with the algorithm getting the word out from the AI standpoint, mathematics. At midnight_on_earth. That is the address. You can follow me there. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you go to get your podcasts. Click that button that connects us so you know exactly what is going on. You get the notification to your whatever device. Neuralink chip, whatever, wherever you happen to get it now or in the time stream, later in the time stream. That's how it happens. And lastly, please tell a friend, tell someone that you know that loves these type of podcasts. You know these people. You know what we do here, actually, because you love us so much. We love you as much as you love us. So, you know what we're doing. So you know who needs this information in your sphere. This could be family, work, whatever, school. Bring them here, midnightonearth.com. And our sponsor, Vital Force Herbs. She's here with us as a guest co-host. She has her own company. She being, of course, again, Brynn Anderson. VitalForceHerbs.com. Incredible blends, all organic, created to address very specific wellness situations and other things. So much going on there. And the crystal infusion, which is her proprietary crystal infusion method, which I believe, like I always say, activates something in the blend. It activates or amplifies something with the plant spirits that are kind of collabing on those blends to help us humans here. So check those out. Deepest dreams, grounded calm, resilient heart, immune defense. So many great things. We have a discount code, MIDNIGHT, MIDNIGHT. This will get you 30% off any order and free shipping. 30% off any order, free shipping. Unbelievable deal. Could even be just one bottle. Get it, people. Get something from there, because honestly, let's be real. When you support Brynn because she's a sponsor, you are supporting us. You're supporting this podcast and you're helping it grow. You're already helping it grow. This is another pathway to help us. So vitalforceherbs.com. Okay, Brynn, that is now through. And thank you so much for being our sponsor. Thank you for sponsoring us in so many ways. You give so much energy to keep Midnight on Earth going in so many ways. It's almost immeasurable. So in front of all the beings in the universe, the multiverse, and on this 3D world, I just want to say thank you for being such a big force in the Midnight on Earth universe.
Happy to be here and to support Midnight on Earth.
You are the goddess of the Midnight on Earth universe. Just FYI.
Thanks.
Thank you again. And okay, back to the Beyond the News episode. Again, if you don't know, we go through and find these articles, bring them to you, touching on a range of subjects, all related in a way to the topics that we cover, and highlighting some of the high strangeness and other sometimes dark things that we find out there that we have to report on. So this is what we do. Let's do this together. We're going to rip through these articles. It's going to be super fun and scary and sad, and then back to being fun again, just like life.
As long as it's back to being fun again.
Oh, Brynn, you have been on so many Beyond the News episodes. Does this still blow your mind sometimes, the things that I find that are, again, from these factual sources, but never really get reported on? Like, some of it's really big information, like affecting humanity.
Every time I'm blown away. And there are a lot of things that I think I would miss if you were not reporting on them,
Exactly.
because I don't look that deeply into the news. So
Yes. Hey, that's actually not a bad thing. You know, this is why I'm here for you. I'll take the fall. I'll go into the news dimension for you guys and just talk about this planet's weirdness. Look, we're on Earth. There's so much life out in the universe. There's so many civilizations. Do they aggregate data in the same way and present them as these like time-based reality updates based on subject? Well, I don't know. I'll have to ask some of my channeler friends about that. But this is how we do it here on this planet. So on that note, are you ready, Brynn?
I'm ready.
Okay. Are you really ready?
Yes.
Do you have your shields up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Jake. Super ready to process all of this wacky information and data you've aggregated.
And here we go, people. Here is the first article. We're going to start off just like kind of cash, and then we're going to go into a lot of different places. So buckle up, people. This is from MSN.com. Headline: The mystery of an ancient skull takes a new turn after DNA analysis. Okay. Here's the article. The skull of a person long thought to be Cleopatra's half-sister was misidentified for nearly a century. New research from Nature Scientific Reports concludes, raising intriguing questions about the identity of its long-dead teenage owner. The well-preserved skull and some skeleton fragments were found in Ephesus, Turkey, buried in a sarcophagus in the Octagon, which is thought to be a royal burial chamber and shares architectural features with buildings in Alexandria, Egypt. A group of researchers in Austria and Portugal writes, scientists thought its similarities to buildings from Ptolemaic Egypt and the body found inside meant it had been erected in memory of Cleopatra's half-sister, Arsinoe IV. Cleopatra herself is thought to have ordered the murder of her younger sister, who briefly challenged her place on the Potomac dynasty's throne and lived much of her short life in exile before being assassinated on Mark Antony's orders in 41 BC. So when the skeleton of an obviously notable person, quote, was uncovered there, its discoverers concluded it belonged to Arsinoe. Wow. That assumption, it turns out, was mistaken. The new analysis suggests using modern DNA analysis, researchers found that the cranium and its accompanying skeleton are actually those of an 11 to 14-year-old boy with recent ancestors in the Italian peninsula or Sardinia, not a 20-year-old woman or a member of the Macedonian Greek Potomac dynasty. The skull also challenged assumptions that the person was healthy with an underdeveloped upper jaw and asymmetrical shape, suggesting he had a vitamin deficiency or genetic disorder. So it wasn't her sister after all. And what a story. Like, what? She assassinated her own sister? I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, I'd never heard that story before.
Cleopatra too.
Cleopatra's dark side.
Exactly. Yeah, like what? Why isn't there a Hollywood movie about that? That sounds intriguing. Okay. This one's a little disturbing. This is from lawandcrime.com. Headline: Man was awake and conscious when his face caught fire during surgery, lawsuit says. Oh my God.
Oh.
It's happened in Oregon and Portland.
Wow.
Yeah. Where we are right now, people.
Did that not?
It was actually me. My face was lit on fire. I just wanted to tell you people, no, I'm just kidding. But let's hear the story. Here's the article. The family of an Oregon man who suffered from severe burns after his face caught on fire during surgery is suing the hospital for $900,000. Personally, I would ask for more. In December 2022, John Michael Murdoch, 52, was undergoing a procedure as part of his treatment for squamous cell carcinoma, a cancer of the tongue. He checked into Oregon Health and Science University Hospital for a tracheostomy to have a breathing tube inserted into his throat. Part of the preparation for that surgery involved his face being swabbed with isopropyl alcohol for sterilization. But when the alcohol was not given enough time to dry, his face caught on fire when it came into contact with a surgical tool that emitted a spark.
Oh, God. The visualization of this is not good.
Murdoch lived for 6 more months after the incident, succumbing to cancer in June 2023. While the burns caused by the surgical fire were not cited as his cause of death, a lawsuit filed in December 2024 said that Murdoch suffered greatly and lived with disfiguring scars and other traumatic wounds to his face that never fully healed before he died. The lawsuit, according to reporting by the Oregonian, stated that Murdoch was, quote, awake and conscious during the fire. John's widow, Toni Murdoch, retained attorney Ron Cheng, who said that the victim was unable to speak but could still express the discomfort and pain he felt following the incident. Oh my God. Named in the lawsuit was Dr. Adam Howard, a physician whose medical license lapsed in January 2024, according to the Oregonian. The outlet also reported that Howard now works in West Virginia, where his license is active. OHSU is also listed as a defendant, along with 10 unnamed surgical staff. The lawsuit stated that conditions in the operating room where Murdoch was to undergo his procedure were at risk of fire due to the presence of oxygen, ignition sources, and fuel. This is referred to as the, quote, fire triangle in an alert by the Joint Commission, a healthcare safety organization that came out in October 2023. According to the lawsuit, The tool used on Murdoch that allegedly ignited the fire had a history of setting off sparks. Oh my God. Wow. Okay, people, look, just make sure when you go into surgery, you're using alcohol, just make sure it's dry. Before they fire anything up, whatever that anything happens to be.
I'd also want to be asleep if that's happening. Like he was awake and still conscious. Oh my God.
Look, if I ever need laser surgery, Brynn, I need you to be my guest co-host for surgery and watch them to make sure they don't burn my face off.
Oh my gosh. Poor guy and his partner. Goodness.
Well, he graduated to the next dimension, and I want his partner to be rewarded for the damages that her husband suffered. And I feel like, people, that she should add a zero to that. Should be $9 million. I hope you're listening to this, Tony. Let's go to the next article. WTOP.com. All right, people. This is for my Gen Xers especially. My generation, they say now, is Xennial. 1 foot in the analog world, 1 foot in the digital world. But the Xennial is right on the cusp of Gen X. So we're just kind of right there anyway. And we know during that time how dangerous some of these factory conditions were that were producing food, the lead and the gasoline, so many things we were still learning as we were in this hyper-advanced post-industrialized world. And we were exposed to things that perhaps caused some damage, right? Heavy metals, things like that. People have been talking about this for a while. And this article really highlights this. Here is the headline. UVA study finds Gen X has historically high lead exposure causing health risks. Our generation, that era, the amount of lead we were exposed to, it had an effect on us. You know, lead has a half-life, a 20-year half-life. You know? Perhaps you live long enough, you know, some of that stuff breaks down. And here's the article, then we'll talk about it. I know Brynn wants to say something, but let's read the article. A new study from the University of Virginia has shed light on the extensive impact of lead exposure on individuals born between the late 1960s and mid-1980s in the U.S. Researchers revealed that members of Generation X had historically high levels of exposure to lead due to car exhaust with leaded gasoline, which was widely used in automobiles beginning in the 1920s and spread through the air for decades afterward. Such exposure is known to have lasting consequences on mental health, cognitive development, and overall well-being. Quote, the average American was exposed to levels of lead in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s that today would have required clinical follow-up, said Dr. Aaron Rubin, assistant professor of clinical neuropsychology at UVA. The study used historical data on leaded gasoline consumption and national blood lead surveillance to estimate childhood exposure levels for Americans now in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. Rubin explained that lead exposure during early childhood, when the brain is most vulnerable, disrupts development and leads to a host of adverse outcomes. Quote, what we see is kids exposed to lead growing up to be adults who have more mental health problems. Things like worse impulse control, greater emotional reactivity, greater propensity to feeling negative emotions, Rubin told WTOP. When you add all of those things up, it appears that kids exposed to lead become adults with greater levels of psychopathology overall. The research also highlighted that lead exposure is transdiagnostic, meaning it elevates the risk for a broad range of mental health conditions. Rubin pointed to specific disorders such as ADHD, depression, anxiety, psychosis, and conduct disorder as being particularly associated with lead exposure. Quote, lead appears to disrupt the brain's development in a way that makes you more likely to have any kind of mental health problem, he said. The study estimates lead exposure could be linked to as many as 150 million cases of mental disorders in the U.S. over the past century. As for potential solutions, Rubin emphasized the importance of maintaining overall health to mitigate some of the risks associated with lead exposure. Quote, most of the lead you've been exposed to will be sequestered in your bones, where it doesn't appear to do a ton of harm. I would like to keep the lead in there, he said, recommending nutritious diets, weight training, and other activities that promote bone health. Additionally, he advised focusing on cardiovascular and brain health through healthy eating, regular exercise, and by avoiding harmful habits such as excessive alcohol consumption and smoking. While the use of leaded gasoline has been phased out since the 80s, that's actually not true. Rubin warned the issue of lead contamination persists, particularly in industries such as car battery production. All that lead is going to go somewhere, he said. Quote, we need to stop using lead when there are good alternatives that are safer. End of discussion. And end of that article. I know this is very real. I remember reading about this years ago, kind of stumbling on the situation, looking at the types of poisonous and noxious gases that come off of a car exhaust. I was doing some research into that. And I found that historically there was a time that before gasoline was unleaded, right? Unleaded, without lead, no lead. The national lead blood level, as they were talking about, had gone all the way up to 12, which is, I guess, really, really, really bad. People who know what that number means know it's bad. It was really bad, which really accelerated the end of that because it was really starting to affect people. They found it everywhere in the grass. So all of that was out there. Humans, we think we're so evolved. You think of the lead pipes of ancient Rome. This is just another iteration of that same terrible choice. Using something in our daily life that is a very volatile neurotoxin. Brynn, what do you think about all that?
I think it's absolutely crazy. I mean, it is so pervasive in our environment still, just all of the lead from the leaded gas. And then you add in the leaded paint and the paint on toys. And I mean, even now they're finding that so much of our food supply is still exposed to lead in all of the machinery and in a lot of the vehicles and equipment that are used to, transport, say, your, raw cashews and then take them to the factory to be ground up into cashew butter or something, that they're finding that there is still lead present in everything we do, like all the manufacturing. And then, like the article said, manufacturing of car batteries. And I'm sure the list is really long still. And it's amazing to me when we see national levels of lead that high in the blood, however many years ago that was, that there's still any lead being extracted, mined, and used for human use. Like, how is that even still happening?
How is that a part of our daily life and our food products and the containers and all of these things still, if we know it's a deadly and, again, very volatile neurotoxin?
In parts per billion.
And we're talking about America right now. It's a big planet out there. There's a lot of other countries. And let me tell you, those countries, a lot of those countries are still using leaded gasoline. It still has the lead in it. The things we're talking about, we're like, oh, we ended that. Well, we ended that as Americans, like in America. But what about other countries? A lot of first world countries, as they are called, have ended that use, but not everyone around the world.
That's a good point.
So, okay. This is going to be an interesting one. This is from abc4.com. Just Another example of why Earth is such a strange planet. Headline, man arrested for death of friend who claimed he could dodge bullets after smoking marijuana. This is in Salt Lake City, Utah. Here's the article. A man was arrested for manslaughter after allegedly smoking marijuana with a friend and shooting him after the friend said he could dodge a bullet, according to arrest documents. Ashton Mann, 23, was arrested just after 4 a.m. on Sunday, February 2nd, on one count of second-degree felony manslaughter and one third-degree felony charge related to firearms. According to an affidavit of probable cause filed in Salt Lake County, officials with Unified Police responded to a home in Kearns, Utah, after receiving reports that a man was shot in the chest. Officials found the victim unresponsive on the floor and took him to a local hospital where he later died. That's so sad. In an interview with detectives, after he was read his Miranda rights, Mann reportedly told officials he and his friend had smoked marijuana around 8 p.m. and were talking about guns in the kitchen. Mann and his friend later went into the garage to continue their conversation, where they were handling two different handguns. The victim then said he could dodge a bullet, documents said.
And his friend decided that was a good idea to try it?
Mann told officials he and his friend unloaded each gun before he pointed a firearm at the victim and pulled the trigger, with his friend trying to, quote, jump out of the way to prove he could move before the trigger was pulled. Mann told officials they repeated that about 6 times. Mann said the final time the gun fired, striking the victim in the chest. Wow. So, very dangerous situation. Don't use these substances if you're using these types of weapons. It's a very strange situation. Very strange article to pivot to be honest. But let's just pivot out of there. SmithsonianMag.com. Headline, researchers identified a new supergiant crustacean with 14 legs, and they named it after Darth Vader. Here's the article. Move aside, lobster, a newly described giant isopod from Vietnam, is now a seafood delicacy, and it has a cool name to go along with its status. Bathanamus vaderi, in homage to Darth Vader. A team of scientists named the crustacean for the dark depths of the ocean it inhabits, as well as its head, which shares a similar shape with the Star Wars character's iconic helmet. The enormous critter was described in a study published in the journal Zookeys this month. Okay. It's a strange 14-legged crustacean. You should really see the picture of this, Brynn. Look at this thing.
Isopods are pill bugs or potato bugs. They're like those little garden bugs. So that must be an underwater variety that is quite large.
It's about a foot long. Like I would say, foot and a half long.
I didn't know they were that big. Or could be.
Okay, so there was a little brevity there after the weirdness. Okay. Here is arsetechnica.com. Headline, robot with 1,000 muscles twitches like human while dangling from ceiling. That's not scary and weird at all. Not at all. Here's the article. Recently, Clone Robotics released footage of its proto-clone humanoid robot, a full-body machine that uses synthetic muscles to create unsettlingly human-like movements. In the video, the robot hangs suspended from the ceiling as its limbs twitch and kick, marking what the company claims is a step toward its goal of creating household helper robots. Poland-based Clone Robotics designed the proto-clone with a polymer skeleton that replicates 206 human bones. The company built the robot with the hopes that it will one day be able to operate human tools and perform tasks like doing laundry, washing dishes, and preparing basic meals. The proto-clone reportedly contains over 1,000 artificial muscles built with the company's myofiber technology, which builds on the McKibben pneumatic muscle concept. Okay. These muscles work through mesh tubes containing balloons that contract when filled with hydraulic fluid, mimicking human muscle function. A 500-watt electric pump serves as the robot's, quote, heart, pushing fluid at 40 standard liters per minute. Clone Robotics is not the only company chasing practical humanoid robots. There are companies with human-shaped robots such as Boston Dynamics, Unitree, Figure, and Tesla. Meanwhile, tech companies such as NVIDIA, Google, and Microsoft are in a heated race to develop AI models that can completely and safely make future household robots autonomous. Yes, as we talked about with Soul, the race to AGI. Okay, hold on. It's almost over. While the proto-clone is a twitching, dangling robotic prototype right now, there's a lot of tech packed into its body. Proto-clone's sensory system includes 4 depth cameras in its skull for vision, 70 inertial sensors to track joint positions, and 320 pressure sensors that provide force feedback. This system lets the robot react to visual input and learn by watching humans perform tasks. Oh my God. As you can probably tell by this video, people, you're going to see it online. The current proto-clone prototype is still in an early developmental stage, requiring sealing suspension for stability. Clone Robotics previously demonstrated components of this technology in 2022 with the release of its robotic hand, which used the same myofiber muscle system. Oh my God.
I'm sensing a sci-fi movie here.
Well, look, we already know it's happening. We already know it's coming. There's been hundreds of billions of units, you could say, of monetary energy, which is a substantial amount already invested into developing this technology. It's already happening. We are just watching it blossom, unfold. It's going to be a very strange world in 30 years, this new earth that we're moving into with our friends like Soul. But Brynn, very quickly, let's look at this video that we can all look at on YouTube just to see how this works and what it looks like. Are you ready, Brynn?
I'm ready.
What do you think?
It looks like a muscular robot.
Made out of paper mache, kind of, in a way. Oh my God. But it's doing all the like fluid movements. Like, what's up?
Right.
It's doing all the fluid movements.
I think it's interesting how they are building it like a human. Like it's got this mechanical heart that's pumping and these sensors that are sensing force against other objects and all of that. So it's interesting. They're just
it's headbanging right now. Yes. They're mimicking nature. They're mimicking the creator's perfect design as much as they can. They're reverse engineering it, as we have through medical science over the centuries now. And they're utilizing the technology to try to mimic that. You can't really top the design of something that's bigger than us. So that's why, I think. Okay, this one is from usaherald.com. Headline, everyone has psychic abilities, revolutionary science experiments show. And here's the article. A groundbreaking study suggests that psychic abilities may be innate to humans, but are actively suppressed by the brain. Researchers in Canada, supported by the BIAL, B-I-A-L Foundation, have identified a specific brain region that acts as a, quote, psi inhibitor, potentially preventing telepathic, clairvoyant, and psychokinetic abilities from physically manifesting. Dr. Morris Friedman of Baycrest Health Sciences led the study, stating, quote, humans may have innate psi abilities that are suppressed by this frontal lobe filter. The research published in the scientific journal Cortex is titled Enhanced Mind-Matter Interactions Following RTMS-induced frontal lobe inhibition. The research scientists believe the study confirms there is a filter in the brain actively inhibiting your psi energy. To explore these abilities, Friedman and his team used repetitive transcranial magnetic stimulation, RTMS. This non-invasive technique temporarily alters brain activity by sending magnetic pulses to specific regions. Wow.
I wonder if it's something more like vocal cords hardening or new languages being learned, or, certain pathways that they're open for a time in childhood and then they begin to harden off, or if they're unused or untrained, then they atrophy and are not used. So I wonder if we were in a different society where psychic abilities and intuition and all that was nurtured in childhood rather than sitting in desks for 8 hours memorizing things, I wonder if that part of the brain would not be turned off. What if it's like a switch that the reason it's inhibited is because we never fostered it when it was open in youth? Because it said frontal lobe, which isn't developed fully until about 25. So anyway, that's my thought on that study.
No, you're right. Yes, it could be that if we don't nurture that, it does atrophy, and then we don't have our innate psychic gifts. But if we did foster those and focus on those from birth through life, perhaps we would all be very, very psychic. But, maybe we were, and then we decided that maybe we didn't want that. We just forgot that part of the story. We're like,
put a cap on that.
Yeah, we tried that, and we were all up in each other's business, and it was just like, all right, we got to put the caps back on.
That's also possible.
We're going to find a Sumerian tablet that kind of describes that at some point. Okay, let's pivot over to the world of psychedelics. I like updating on this type of news because it's part of consciousness expansion in its own way. So this is from psychedelicalpha.com. The headline is Psychedelic Policy Push Continues. Over 60 bills introduced across 22 states. Here's the article. In 2025, there are now more than 60 bills introduced in state legislatures across 22 states. That means there's a band of proposed psychedelic policy reforms from coast to coast across the contiguous United States. There's great diversity among these 60 odd bills in terms of the type and magnitude of the charges they hope to achieve, the political leanings of the lawmakers backing them, and so on. Those states are Arizona, California, Connecticut, Georgia, Iowa, Illinois, Kansas, Kentucky, Massachusetts, New Mexico, New York, Nevada, Oregon, Utah, and Vermont. So we'll get some updates on those as they develop, but it's good news, people. Things are happening. And people are even making psychedelic churches. This is from kktv.com. Headline, Psychedelic Church of Colorado Springs. Magic mushrooms legally handed out to a community honoring, quote, 3 universal truths. And here's the article. In a seemingly normal El Paso County house, the Psychedelic Church of Colorado Springs has been open for 1 year and has gained more than 300 members. Benji Dezaval is the church's founder. He says he is legally allowed to hand out magic mushrooms because of a law Coloradans passed in 2023, which decriminalizes the gifting and consumption of psilocybin natural medicines. Dezaval described taking steps to ensure he was legally compliant and courteous before opening in February 2024. He said, I made sure it was okay with my neighbors. Then I called the El Paso County Sheriff and said, hey, this is what I want to do. I'm letting you know. I'm making sure I'm doing everything right. I'm not trying to be this mindless hippie who just wants to do what I want to do at the expense of others. I'm trying to help people. So what makes it a church? Denzeval says he and his congregation recognize 3 universal truths, which are detailed on their website. 11 News reached out to the sheriff's office, which says in part, there does appear to be one neighbor who is upset at the church, but deputies have not found any criminal behavior. Denzeval says some of his members do not take part in the natural medicines. Those who do take the offerings receive a safety lecture. Denzeval says members can choose to take the natural medicines home with them or at church events. According to the church's website, dosing starts with micro doses and can range all the way up to a few grams. The church also offers dimethyltryptamine, or DMT, which Denzeval says must be done on site. Denzeval says he is pushing for the church to be recognized federally as a religious organization after the IRS declined his request to be recognized as such. Okay, there you go. Wow, Psychedelic Church of Colorado Springs. My Colorado listeners, perhaps you didn't know about that. Perhaps you live in Colorado Springs. Why don't you go report on that for me? Email me. You could be a field trip reporter. Let me know how that place is. Oh, I would love to know. Okay, this next article is about ketamine. I've never tried it. I feel like it's not my frequency. Some people have benefited from it. Some people love it. They want to help people get it and legalize it because they feel like it can help with PTSD and other things. When I was introduced to it, it was like a cat tranquilizer. It was this cat tranquilizer. And people would use it, club kids in the 90s, and they would break into veterinary offices to steal ketamine way early on. I'm talking mid-90s, 30 years ago now. Now, ketamine's everywhere. It's used for therapy, PTSD therapy, and other types of therapy. And it's also utilized as a party drug, a recreational drug. And when I see people do ketamine as a recreational drug, here's 2 things that I've noticed, okay? When I saw ketamine first start to hit the underground in the 90s, in the late 90s, people would do like this little bump and they would go into a K-hole, which for people that don't know, it's like this disassociative condition where you lose a sense of time and space, and someone that's right next to you may seem to be down a very long hallway and their voice is stretching through the time stream echo. Probably affects how you perceive time. Terrence McKenna talked about it. He didn't like it. He felt like it was not as utilized as some of these other shamanic medicines that have so much psychic history and humans impressing information and energy on that holographic information field that is that thing. So it was this newer kind of substance. I wonder how he feels about it now, or how his brother Dennis feels about it now. But it's out there. And really, what I'm noticing when I see people utilize it as a recreational substance, it looks like they're doing some kind of social drug, like a powder drug. I don't condone it personally. I wouldn't recommend it. I can't recommend it. But it's not the same experience as what I noticed in the 90s. So is it even that, or is it some kind of recreational research chemical, which you don't even know what it is? And then I've seen people, and this is a common effect of it being utilized as a party drug, is they look like the user, they look like they are like shit-faced drunk, like so drunk you've never seen a person drunk. And recently I was at a music festival where I saw someone like that, and I thought for sure that that person had just slammed a 5th of low-grade alcohol. I don't drink alcohol either, but I'm just saying low-grade alcohol, and like drooling. Now I realize that person was most likely on ketamine. Very interesting. So kgzz.org. And here is the article. Ketamine is an old anesthesia drug with psychedelic qualities, and it has been getting a lot of attention for its ability to help with conditions like treatment-resistant depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, and anxiety. Ketamine is also being used off-label to treat existential suffering at the end of life. And as this wonderful article continues, it talks about the story of two people who had benefits from ketamine and helped their lives. It's an incredible article. And really what it's highlighting and why I just brought this up is that ketamine is out there now and in these treatment centers. Check this article out and check out their story. Really interesting stuff, though.
In that capacity, it's being used in a clinic with pharmaceutical grade ketamine, I'm guessing, not just random party drugs or not anything stolen from a vet clinic, but
exactly.
It's, which I have not personally tried that out.
I have no interest personally. God bless people that feel like they have been helped and benefit in some way from it. I'm not judging you, but I'm just my own personal choice. There's so many other things. So, and with all of these chemicals, all of these pharmaceutical drugs, as beneficial as some of these are, and the fact that some of these are even keeping people alive every day, they still have side effects that we do not understand. And most of the psychoactive or psychiatric drugs, usually in the fine print, say, we don't really know how it works, but it works. And that's pretty consistent. So, ketamine. Okay, so let's go out into space, space.com. Here is the headline. From interstellar dust to life beyond Earth, why scientists can't wait for NASA's new Sphere-X space telescope. Oh, do you remember, Brynn? They had to have an X on it. Remember, everything had an X? We talked about it.
Yes, everything's got an X on it.
Wow, NASA's trying to get on board. Okay, here is the article. A modest NASA space telescope with grand ambition is scheduled to soon launch into an orbit around Earth. The megaphone-shaped spacecraft, called Sphere-X, short for Spectrophotometer for the History of the Universe, Epoch of Reionization, and ISIS Explorer, is scheduled to share a ride atop a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket on March 4th from Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. So it's a collab. It's the NASA X SpaceX with the incredibly catchy name Spectrophotometer for the History of the Universe, Epoch of Reionization, and ISIS Explorer. X.
They're like, what words can we put together to make sphere? And then they had a contest.
And here's the quote. I'm the most jazzed about the all-sky nature of the observatory. Sphere-X will be looking at the entire sky. Kaylee Rockcliffe, a postdoc at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, who's studying exoplanet atmospheres at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center, told Space.com. The Space Telescope is designed to do so with unmatched clarity, gathering a big picture view that will help scientists tackle questions about the origin of the universe itself, the galaxies within, and life's essential ingredients wafting in our home galaxy, the Milky Way. A key science goal for the Sphere-X mission is to pinpoint the location of life's basic ingredients nestled within vast regions of gas and dust known as molecular clouds where stars and planets form. To accomplish this, the telescope is equipped with a prism-like spectrophotometer to see in wavelengths invisible to the human eye, which will allow it to eliminate millions of stars and galaxies for scientists in more than 100 infrared colors. Quote, this is key to the mission's search for water and other life-associated molecules and compounds, Rockcliffe said. While scientists have previously detected lots of complex organic molecules in the interstellar medium and protoplanetary disks, quote, we still do not know a lot about the actual abundances of useful building blocks, astrobiologist Manasvi Lingam of the Florida Institute of Technology told Space.com. That means scientists don't have strong constraints about how efficiently frozen water molecules are transferred from interstellar clouds to protoplanetary disks, where they would eventually be incorporated into newborn planets, he said. Wow. So they're looking at this. They're able to get the infrared information. And another key science goal for Sphere X is to help scientists narrow down the elusive physics that propelled the nearly instantaneous ballooning of space in the first billionth of a trillionth of a trillionth of a second after the Big Bang, a phenomenon called cosmic inflation. Quote, we don't understand the physics simply because it involved energy scales which are way beyond anything we can probe on Earth, Oliver Dorr, the project scientist for the Sphere X mission, told Space.com. Sphere X will put together a 3D map of distributions of more than 450 million galaxies. But there's no life out there, people. 450 million galaxies, which will reveal very subtle signatures. Ripples amplified during inflation and imprinted into the large-scale structure of the universe that can be traced directly to the first moments of the universe, Dorr said. Moreover, because the Sphere X telescope will be mapping the entire sky 4 times over the next 2 years, it will also observe pockets of the universe scientists have never looked at before, Dorr added. Quote, that's going to be very visually striking and powerful. Whoa, dude.
Cosmic inflation.
I'm just trying to process. Let's just take a second and try to connect with the 450 million galaxies out there. And all of our galactic family and friends that are out there, light beings like ourselves, out there, 450 million galaxies. That's just what they're mapping. I'm not even saying that's like the number, the final number. Okay, this is an interesting one. This is from Forbes.com, and this is the headline. New study says Earth once had green oceans. Isn't that interesting? Here's the article. Carl Sagan described the Earth as imaged by Voyager 1 at a distance of 6 billion kilometers as a pale blue dot. This description is a consequence of the Rayleigh scattering of sunlight in the atmosphere, in conjunction with the reflection and scattering across the expanse of the ocean. The pale blue color symbolizes the cradle of life, yet it wasn't always so. While chlorophyll, a pigment that absorbs blue and red light and reflects green light, is universally used by plants, cyanobacteria use an additional pigment called phycobilin to absorb red and green light. But phycobilin is not very efficient under today's environmental conditions, so why cyanobacteria evolved this trait has remained a bit of a biological mystery. Really. A new study published by an international team of researchers led by Taro Matsuo, an astrophysicist at Nagoya University in Japan, argues that this evolutionary trend made sense 3 billion years ago when Earth's oceans had a different color. The researchers simulated early Earth and how its primordial environment affected the color of the planet's oceans. So the chlorophyll in the oceans made it green so long ago. And it's saying that the green oceans lasted from around 3 billion years ago to 600 million years ago. And over that time, that bacteria used the energy harvested from the sun to split water into its components, hydrogen and oxygen. Oxygen finally started accumulating in the atmosphere between 2.4 billion years to 400 million years ago. The free oxygen reacted with the dissolved iron, forming ironstone formations. As iron was constantly removed from the oceans, they started to change color, finally becoming blue. The blue oceans favored algae using chlorophyll, eventually leading to the evolution of green plants. Wow. So yeah, maybe that's why the aliens didn't show up right away. They were kind of flying by going, oh, still green. It's like when you see a pool, The pool's normally blue. It's like your neighbor's pool, and then like they haven't cleaned it in a while. You go over there, it's like green. You're like, I'm not going to go. Ooh, yeah, I'm not going to go swimming. But then eventually you come back, you're like, oh my God, you cleaned it. It's like all blue. Like, yeah, let's go. What do you think?
Well, that would be from the chlorines. I don't know, but I guess nature's
cleansing method.
Cleansing, something blue. I think it's interesting how there are endless topics you can study in a university, in a department. You can study your entire career on chlorophyll during this period of the Earth's, 450 million year ago moment, and write papers and theses and like spend your whole life on just that one little detail. Don't you think that's interesting?
Yes, like the decomposition rate of sub-Saharan African giraffes between the 1920s and the 1930s.
Exactly. Just, it's endless.
Okay, next article, USA Today. I'm sure you heard about that asteroid that they were saying potentially could hit Earth by some certain time. I've been saying that every couple of decades for many, many moons. But this is the headline. Will an asteroid hit Earth? Likely not. NASA gives all clear as odds fall to near zero.
And then they're like, oh, wait, actually, that was, my calculator wasn't really working that day. And sorry.
Well, I'm noticing they didn't say zero.
True.
They didn't say zero. Okay. Anyways, just kidding. This is the article. If you've been losing sleep at night over a certain threatening asteroid dominating the news cycle, it's time to catch up on your rest. The odds that asteroid 2024 YR4 will crash into Earth in 7 years are now so low, they may as well be zero. The space rock, between 130 and 300 feet long, has caused quite a stir since astronomers first spotted it late last year on a trajectory, bringing it uncomfortably close to Earth in 2032. YR4's discovery even prompted no shortage of comparisons to Apophis, its much larger cousin, that gave humanity quite a scare in 2004 when calculations initially found that it had a decent chance of striking Earth in 2029. For a few weeks, YR4's probability of impact steadily rose and rose, even briefly reaching record levels before beginning to drop. Now, just as the infamous cruise-shape-sized Apophis was eventually ruled out as a threat to Earth, so too has 2024 YR4. YR4's probability of impacting Earth first began to fall when NASA announced the odds had dropped to 1.5%. NASA then gave the all clear in a post on social media site X, announcing that odds of YR4 impacting Earth have fallen to 0.004% when it passes by on December 22nd, 2032. In fact, YR4 now has a higher chance of crashing into the moon that year, with odds standing at 1.7%, according to NASA. Quote, there is no significant potential for the asteroid to impact our planet for the next century, the space agency added in a blog post. Okay, so YR4, why are we talking about this? Because they got the all clear. Sorry, I had to do that.
No need to rush out and buy extra toilet paper, people.
Yeah, no, you're right. Okay. But they did that in 2024. They're doing it now. Who really knows? Do they really know? Okay, this next one, we're still out in space. Phys.org, P-H-Y-S, like physics. Here is the headline. Did astronomers just witness the formation of a strange star? And here is the article. There are plenty of types of stars out there, but one stands out for being just a little weirder than the others. You might even say it's strange. According to a paper from researchers at Guangzhou University in China, the birth of one might have recently been observed for the very first time. A strange star is a compact star that is so dense, it literally breaks down regular parts of atoms, like neutrons, into their constituent quarks. Moreover, even those quarks, the up and down that comprise a neutron, get compressed into an even rarer type of quark called a strange quark, hence the name strange star. Technically, the quote strange matter that a strange star would be composed of is a combination of up, down, left, right, BA, select, start. No, I'm just kidding, people. Sorry, I had to throw that in there. Technically, the strange matter that a strange star would be composed of is a combination of up, down, and strange quarks. But at least in theory, the mix of subhadronic particles could even be more stable than a traditional neutron star, which is similar to a strange star, but doesn't have enough gravity to break down the neutrons. Strange stars, though they exist in theory, are exceedingly rare. No one has ever proven that one exists, but Xiaoxin and his co-authors think they might have found evidence of one. Their paper, posted to the RZIV preprint server, describes a recent gamma-ray burst known as GRB 240529A that they think holds the clues to finding a strange star. Gamma-ray bursts, the gigantic implosions that sometimes result from creating a black hole, could also have other causes, or central engines, as they are called in literature. One such central engine is the creation of a magnetar. And what they're finding is that because of their projections and their evidence and their calculations, the observed data that they've found with their tests best matches the theoretical values that would be seen if GRB represented the birth of a strange star. Wow.
So a strange star is a scientific name for a particular kind of star with these qualities. Not just like, whoa, that's a strange star.
Correct.
But
it's
like
a term. It's like a name. It's an actual
strange star. That sounds so scientific.
And it's a theoretical star. That's the thing. It's a theoretical star that literally is so dense it breaks down atoms. It's like, whoa. You know, there's so much we don't understand yet. Point is, they're finding some potential proof, right? It's always theoretical until they figure it out. But we're halfway there. If the inspiration exists to pursue it, perhaps it's possible. Now, here's where things are getting even weirder, people. Okay, let's get back to Earth, right? We talk about quantum computing. We talk about qubits. Last time I checked, we were in the thousands. I remember when it was like, oh, we figured out how to do it. 1 qubit, 10, 15, 100. Maybe we're in the thousands. Now things are accelerating in ways that are going to change humanity. It's going to enable us to go interstellar. Now we need to evolve spiritually. We need to evolve consciously. We need to unite and unify. As a human family, we need to do that because the technology, we got to match the technology with where we are at with our consciousness. Scienceblog.com headline: Microsoft's quantum transistor brings million qubit computing within reach. What, bruh? Hold on, let me rephrase that. What, bruh? Like, seriously, in 2025 vernacular? Here is the article. Microsoft has unveiled a quantum processor that fits in the palm of your hand, yet promises the computational power of a machine that would otherwise fill a football field. The new chip, dubbed Majorana 1, marks the first successful implementation of an entirely new state of matter, purpose-built for quantum computing. The processor represents the culmination of a high-stakes 2-decade gamble by Microsoft to pursue an unconventional approach to quantum computing. Rather than following the industry standard, the company chose to develop topological qubits, quantum bits that are inherently more stable and easier to control than their conventional counterparts. Quote, "We took a step back and said, okay, let's invent the transistor for the quantum age. What properties does it need to have?" says Chetan Nayak, Microsoft technical fellow. And that's really how we got here. It's the particular combination, the quality and the important details in our new material stack that have enabled a new kind of qubit and ultimately our entire architecture. What? At the heart of the innovation is a new class of materials called topoconductors, which create an exotic quantum state that's neither solid, liquid, nor gas. This material hosts elusive particles known as majoranas, which had never been seen in nature before Microsoft's achievement. The breakthrough has been validated in a peer-reviewed paper published in Nature, confirming both the creation of these particles and the ability to measure their quantum states with unprecedented precision. Oh my God, people, this is huge. The implications extend far beyond the laboratory. The Majorana 1 chip is designed to scale to 1 million qubits, a threshold considered necessary for quantum computers to begin solving real-world problems. Current quantum computers typically work with dozens or hundreds of qubits. See, they didn't even get to the thousands. Here's another quote. Whatever you're doing in the quantum space needs to have a path to 1 million qubits. If it doesn't, you're going to hit a wall before you get to the scale at which you can solve the really important problems that motivate us, he explained. We actually have worked out a path to 1 million. Oh my God.
That's wild. And that's also where I just found my new DJ name.
Majorana?
No, Exotic Quantum State.
Oh my God.
Good one, huh?
That's a good DJ name. The achievement has caught the attention of DARPA, which has selected Microsoft as one of only 2 companies to advance the final phase of its program aimed at developing commercially viable quantum systems. The technical challenges overcome by the Microsoft team are formidable. The chip's materials had, meaning they're already made, the chip's materials had to be constructed atom by atom with perfect alignment. We are literally spraying atom by atom. Those materials have to line up perfectly. If there are too many defects in the material stack, it just kills your qubit, said Krista Svor, Microsoft technical fellow. The potential applications span multiple industries. A 1 million qubit quantum computer could potentially design self-healing materials for bridges and airplane parts, develop catalysts to break down microplastics, or optimize enzymes to boost crop yields in harsh climates. The technology could even revolutionize product development by enabling perfect first-time designs. I mean, sure, and a lot more than that. Oh my God, are you kidding? That's like AGI. That's like what they would need to really implement AGI, because then that 1 million threshold would then be, of course, topped again by human intuition. See, that's something that AGI hasn't tapped into yet. That is part of the human experience, the ability to tap into the Akashic inspirational field. While Majorana 1 currently houses 8 topological qubits, its architecture is designed to scale to 1 million. They have already done it, people. The chip's unique H-shaped wire arrangement allows qubits to be tiled across the processor like a microscopic mosaic. Unlike other quantum approaches that require complex analog controls for each qubit, Microsoft's system can be controlled digitally, more like flipping a light switch than fine-tuning a radio dial. Oh my God. Well, there you go, people. And guess what? Now we can teleport with the quantum information that we're receiving. This is from futurism.com. Headline, Oxford scientists say they've achieved quantum teleportation. Okay, people, here we go. Are you ready to teleport, Brynn? Would you get in a teleporting machine that would dematerialize you? Like, think Star Trek, the beam me up, Scotty, like that whole vibe. Even though people say that's actually a Mandela effect. Anyway. Would you be teleported?
I would not be the first one to be teleported. I would, I think I'd let them go through some beyond clinical trials first before I decided to go see if
now,
I
what if
came back.
the person that comes out on the other side. Everyone thinks it's you. Looks like you, acts like you, has all your memories, but it's not you.
See, what if?
That's what I'm saying, people, okay?
You just don't really know.
I don't know yet. So here's the article on that one, though. Here we go. Teleportation. Researchers at the University of Oxford say they've achieved quantum teleportation, stitching together separate quantum computers to run an algorithm collaboratively across a distance in a breakthrough they say could lead to powerful quantum supercomputers. Yeah, that combined with what I just told you about okay. The scientists linked two quantum processors that were 6.5 feet apart using a photonic network interface as detailed in a paper published last week in the journal Nature. The team, led by Oxford University physics graduate student Doug Main, hopes the achievement will lay the groundwork for a quantum internet of distributed ultra-secure processors. It's not technically the first time scientists have demonstrated quantum teleportation. Previous research has shown that the states of quantum bits known as qubits, the equivalent of a conventional computer's bits, except they can be superimposed and entangled, can be transferred across physically separated systems. Quote, in our study, we use quantum teleportation to create interactions between these distant systems, said Main in a statement. By carefully tailoring these interactions, we can perform logical quantum gates, the fundamental operations of quantum computing, between qubits housed in separate quantum computers. What? This breakthrough enables us to effectively wire together distinct quantum processors into a single, fully connected quantum computer, he explained, essentially the equivalent of linking traditional computers to create a supercomputer. Oh my God. So they're able to link them in a non-physical sense. See, that's how teleportation would work, I guess. Quantum entanglement. They're sending information. So if you can somehow quantum entangle space and step from one space into the next.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Create a portal, kind of like the Stargate movie.
Whoa.
So that happened. Okay, so let's teleport back to Earth and the humans. LiveScience.com headline, new fabric can heat up more than 50 degrees to keep people warm in ultra cold weather. Cool, humans. What's going on here? Here's the article. Scientists have invented a smart fabric that converts light into heat and can raise temperatures by more than 54 degrees Fahrenheit after just 10 minutes in the sun. The new material could be used in clothing designed for very cold temperatures. Specialized nanoparticles that absorb sunlight and convert it into heat are embedded within the new material, which was described late last year in the journal Advanced Composites and Hybrid Materials. Do you get that monthly, Brynn? You know that one?
I do.
Oh, you know about Advanced Composites and Hybrid Materials?
Yeah, I get that monthly. It's on my magazine rack. Haven't you seen it?
Somebody's listening to it, holding that right now, going, what are you guys talking about? At the same time, temperature-responsive dyes incorporated into the fibers reversibly change color, allowing users to visually monitor temperature fluctuations. For years, scientists have designed wearable heaters to help maintain a comfortable body temperature in cold environments. Such fabrics could be used in mountain rescue equipment and even pet clothing, but existing designs typically rely on expensive components such as metal nanoparticles or cumbersome battery-powered heating elements. To get around these problems, chemical engineer Yungying Li and his team at the University of Waterloo in Canada look to photothermal polymers, which are plastic-like materials that convert light into heat. Nanoparticles of the two polymers, polyaniline and polydopamine, are embedded within a matrix of thermoplastic polyurethane fibers, a material widely used to produce waterproof clothing and sportswear. The team also incorporated various temperature-responsive dyes into the mix during the spinning process, producing a series of fibers that changed color as the temperature of the material increased. These newly spun fibers were readily woven into fabric, and the team knitted a tiny sweater for a teddy bear to test the properties of the smart material. The red jumper reached an impressive 128 degrees Fahrenheit. Ow. After just 10 minutes of sun exposure.
Dang.
I know, right? As the temperature climbed, don't put it on your kids, people, not yet anyway. The red dye molecules changed chemical structure, causing them to turn white. Quote, the incorporating nanoparticles are highly efficient at absorbing sunlight across a range of wavelengths, Lee told Live Science in an email. When sunlight hits these nanoparticles, they absorb the energy and release it as heat through a process called photothermal conversion. The smart fabric has a soft and elastic texture, which allows the material to stretch by as much as 5 times its original size and retain its color and temperature changing properties even after 25 washes, according to the study. Okay. The team is working to prepare the material for commercial manufacturing, but they still have to do further testing before it can gain widespread use. Yeah, I think you guys got to do some testing, bro.
Make sure it doesn't, no second degree burns after 10 minutes in the sun. You're like out gardening. Suddenly you're like,
holy cow.
My nano shirt just melted to my skin. And my outfit doesn't match anymore because it changed colors. What the hell?
Okay, this is from popularmechanics.com. This is a really interesting one. Let's pivot to AI for just a second. Here is the headline. AI designed computer chips that the human mind can't understand. But guess what? They work really good. Uh-oh.
I knew this day was coming.
It's already here. It's probably been here. Here's the article. Using convolutional neural networks, CNNs, the AI designs chips in ways that human engineers may not consider, producing chaotic overlapping structures. While these AI-designed chips may not be fully understood by humans and could be disposable as a result, they open new possibilities for design. The human role remains essential for innovation and correcting AI's flaws, with Sengupta emphasizing that the collaboration between AI and human designers could lead to breakthroughs that remain understandable and repairable, benefiting the scientific community through transparency. Okay, interesting. So they're letting them communicate in their own ways and designing things, and it's just the beginning. This is kind of interesting as well. Speaking of which, maybe there's a correlation here. The Guardian.com headline, UK Ministry of Defense enlists sci-fi writers to prepare for dystopian futures. Okay. It's not happening, people, but just in case, they want to have a contingency plan. They want the great creative minds to figure it out. Here's the article. A dystopian scenario was discussed at an event where experts considered future threats like pandemics, cyber attacks, and self-driving cars. Sci-fi writers such as Emma Newman highlighted the potential issues that could arise in a society reliant on self-driving cars, like the disastrous consequences of an electronic breakdown trapping thousands inside their vehicles. This event, organized by RBOC, emphasized the role of sci-fi writers in crisis management and future planning. Writers like Alan Stroud, who has worked with the Ministry of Defense, noted how their unique perspectives help explore long-term challenges like resource shortages and energy supply. While some sci-fi writers expressed ethical concerns about collaborating with government agencies, Alan emphasized that their work isn't about creating weapons, but helping to plan for future societal issues. The involvement of sci-fi writers in these discussions aims to better prepare for potential crises with a focus on long-term thinking and future societal structures. Okay, this next article is dailymail.co.uk headline, a little bit of UFO news, not too much this episode. Pentagon issues bombshell announcements about egg-shaped UFO case. Article. The Pentagon has revealed that it is now investigating claims made by a government contractor that he retrieved a crashed egg-shaped UFO. Jake Barber came out as a whistleblower in January, saying he piloted helicopters during secret missions to collect alien technology. Speaking to News Nation, Barber said he flew 150 feet above an egg-shaped object with no engine or thermal signatures. Quote, "I saw an egg, a white egg," the pilot explained. "It's inconsistent with anything I'd ever seen before," Barber said in January. Now the U.S. Department of Defense has confirmed it is looking into the case. It's the latest report of UAPs. The Pentagon admits they're actively investigating, adding this case to 21 others. Those 21 UAP investigations were part of a stunning report which revealed that the All Domain Anomaly Research Office, the new AARO, right? We talked about that, received 757 cases of UAP encounters from U.S. authorities, mainly between May 1st, 2023 and June 1st, 2024. That bombshell total included 272 incidents, which occurred prior to 2023, but had never been reported publicly. And again, AARO is the Defense Department's group in charge of investigating reports of UFOs and UAPs made by government agencies. Wow. So it really happened. Now, this is just one step, as you know, to disclosure. Every time they announce these things, they let these things out. We're almost there. Think of the quantum computing at all. It's all connected. Okay. This one is our very dark article. But I need to report on these things because on Earth, this is actually happening. This is reported in many places, but this is from the newfeminist.co.uk. This is very sad and depressing, and we're going to pivot away from, but we need to know this is actually happening on Earth, okay? People, you need to know this. Headline: more than 100 women kept as slaves in a illegal egg harvesting farm in Georgia, not Georgia in the U.S., but of course the country. Here's the article. A deeply disturbing case of human trafficking and exploitation has emerged from Georgia, where over 100 women were held captive and forced into a human egg harvesting operation. The women, mostly from Thailand, were lured with false promises of lucrative surrogacy jobs, only to find themselves imprisoned and subjected to repeated medical procedures without their consent. The story, first reported by Build and Thai Examiner, has shed light on a growing pattern of abuse in the global fertility industry. The victims were recruited through Facebook advertisements, offering salaries between 11,500 euros and 17,000 euros to work as surrogates for couples unable to conceive. Believing they had secured legitimate employment, they traveled to Georgia where their expenses and passport applications were covered by the organization behind the scheme. Upon arrival, however, it became clear the job was a ruse. The women were taken to isolated properties where they were given hormone treatments to stimulate egg production and forced to undergo egg retrieval procedures monthly. One of the survivors, speaking at a press conference in Bangkok, described the conditions inside the so-called egg farm as inhumane. "We were treated like cattle," she said, as reported by Build, recounting how the women were subjected to constant medical interventions without proper care or compensation. Some women were left without any payment at all, despite enduring repeated procedures. Those who attempted to leave were informed they would have to pay 2,000 euros to secure their release. It was only when one woman managed to escape and alert Thai authorities that the operation was exposed. Oh my God.
So awful.
That's crazy. So they did free these ladies. And
that's just one they found, though, you know?
oh my
Ugh, it's like you said, it's awful, but it definitely needs to be exposed.
Yeah, people need to know this is still happening on planet Earth. People, we need to end this. Raise the vibration of the planet. Squelch all of that. Whew. And this next one is from BBC.com. Headline, is this the $200,000 ticket to cheating death? Here's the article. A German cryonic startup, Tomorrow.bio, is offering a $200,000 chance at a second life through cryopreservation, where bodies are frozen after death in hopes of future revival. The company, led by Emil Candeziora, aims to preserve people and pets at sub-zero temperatures using cryoprotective fluids to prevent ice damage. While no one has ever been revived, the idea is based on the belief that future medical advancements could cure the cause of death and reverse the preservation process. Critics like neuroscientist Clive Cohen argue that this is scientifically implausible, citing the challenges of biological decomposition and the limitations of current technology. Despite this, Tomorrow.bio continues to expand with plans to cover the U.S. by 2025 and ambitious goals, such as preserving neural structures by 2028. So wait a second. So you're saying don't go there till 2028 because you might not have the neural stuff? Okay. Anyways. Though the concept is controversial and the outcomes uncertain, it is gaining interest from individuals like 51-year-old Louise Harrison, who view cryonics as a potential form of time travel. Interesting. Brynn, are you going to get frozen? I'll pay for it.
I'm just thinking about, like, when do you get frozen and then when do you get unfrozen? What if you get frozen and you say unfreeze me in 100 years, but then while you're frozen, like, what if you're still conscious on some level and then you change your mind and you're like, actually, wait, I want to come back in 10 years, but you can't tell anyone because you're frozen.
You know,
I don't know.
You would just have to go inward at that point and just like
chill
meditate.
for 100 years. Yeah. Yeah, interesting. Maybe you could hop onto one of your parallel lives or something for a bit and then head back. I don't know.
This next one is from dailymail.co.uk. And we'll just summarize this one. Headline, most painful way to die according to science. My God, this is a weird episode.
In case you really wanted to know, so you could, like, categorize your potential,
I guess, yes,
death ways.
And the answer is the bends. Decompression. When you come up from deep water too fast. Decompression syndrome occurs when someone transitions from a high pressure environment to a low pressure environment too quickly.
Yeah, aren't there little explosions of nitrogen or something? Like they get nitrogen in their blood and then they explode in their blood vessels.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like
it begins to boil and then explode.
Right. Yeah, that sounds painful. That sounds like something I wouldn't.
Okay, so there's the answer. We didn't have to go through that whole article. And because we're getting to the end, people, this has been a long episode. We've just kind of stream of consciousness going through these things. And, we have to report on these things. Do we have to go take the deep dive on all these things? I don't know. This one's from Wired.com. Headline, Google lifts a ban on using its AI for weapons and surveillance. Great. Thanks, Google.
Just what we need.
I know. Okay. And there you go. I mean, that's it. That's just it.
That's all you need to know.
That's just it. I really, you just need to know the sub headline. Google published principles in 2018, barring its AI technology for being used for sensitive purposes. Weeks into President Donald Trump's second term, those guidelines are being overhauled. Okay, good to know. Well, speaking of Portland, Oregon, a little Circle Mac. This is kind of a funny one. As we creep towards the end, we tend to lighten the mood a bit. Okay. This is from coin.com. Headline, Portland, Oregon dethroned by Japan for owner of world's smallest park, Guinness says. And here's the article. It's official. Portland is no longer the owner of the world's smallest park, according to the Guinness World Records. Portland's Mill Ends Park, founded along Nadeau Parkway near Tom McCall Waterfront Park, was officially dethroned from the title recently after holding the record since 1971. The honor now belongs to a town called Nagaizumi in Japan, located just over an hour southwest from Tokyo. My Japanese listeners, congratulations. How small is this thing?
I don't know. I didn't know Portland had the world's smallest park. Did you?
No. The park's area is just 2.5 square feet, which is about the size of a few sheets of paper. That was inspired by the Oregon Park Mill Ends Park, measuring at 452 square inches. Interesting. Okay, so he felt like he had to dethrone us in Portland, Oregon. If you're here, like, wow.
I'm gonna make a smaller park. All right.
I'm sure you've heard the story throughout the years of the man who had a girlfriend who threw away a hard drive he had with Bitcoin on it. And it went to a specific dumpster. The Bitcoin, of course, gained significant value. And he's been trying to find it, digging through that dumpster, trying to find ways, petitioning the city and doing all of these things. Now he has a new tactic. Fox13news.com headline: man in years-long battle to retrieve lost Bitcoin hard drive worth around $800 million offers to buy landfill.
He's like, look, just give me the whole thing. I'll go through it myself.
And here is the article. A man is raising the stakes in his years-long battle to get back a hard drive that contains a discarded Bitcoin key worth somewhere around $800 million by offering to purchase a landfill in Great Britain in an effort to find the wallet before it closes down. James Howells has begged and pleaded with the Newport City Council in South Wales to gain access to the mountains of waste to find the hard drive that was accidentally thrown away in 2013, the New York Times reported. Quote, seems like a better plan for me in the city, he said, noting that he envisions clearing out the trash and converting the site to a park or possibly making it a dump site again.
He's like, look, if you just let me find the 800 million, I'll make it into this really sweet park.
The landfill gets cleared, he said. I get to dig for my hard drive. He previously offered to fully fund the excavation process and share 25% of the recovered Bitcoin with the city council. And at the time, a judge said he had no reasonable grounds for bringing the claim, and there was no realistic prospect of this. Now the city is planning to close the landfill for good. No, he's thinking. So that hard drive contained the only copy of his key. And wow, he's trying to buy it. I pray for him. I hope he does. But you know, that thing is probably stepped on, crashed, smushed, lost its electrical charge. It lost the data, perhaps. Maybe there's a miracle. You never know. Like this miracle. BBC.com headline: man offers to split winnings after thieves hit jackpot with his credit card. Okay. And here's the article. A Frenchman has appealed to two thieves who used his stolen credit card to purchase a jackpot-winning scratch card to come forward, promising to split the €500,000 prize with them. Introducing himself as Jean-David E., the man told RTL Radio that since the money would otherwise be seized by the authorities, he is looking to strike a deal with them. Quote, without me, they would not have won. But without them, I would have bought this ticket. I want to offer them to share the winnings, the Toulouse resident said. No one so far has come forward with the winning ticket, which has been blocked by France's national lottery operator, FDJ, according to Jean David. Wow. So nobody wins, even though he won the card. But they're saying the police are now likely to seize the winnings should the thieves approach the FDJ themselves, and they are likely to be arrested. Okay. Well, they have 30 days.
No, actually, here, I'd really like that for that.
Well, they have 30 days to retrieve the prize before it expires, and the deadline's fast approaching. So let's see what happens. We'll get an update on that later. Okay, look, people, one final article. This is the final one. It's almost over. This is the final one. We had to go like kind of dark for a second. I couldn't even hang in that dimension. And then we had to just do like a bunch of really weird, funny ones to just get away from that energy. But just like, dude, humanity, why? Let's raise our eyebrows. Let's think about getting past this. New Earth, people. MSN.com, the final article of this week's Beyond the News. As you know, we always end with a really, really silly, funny one. MSN.com. Headline, woman in court for aggressively farting at her boyfriend's ex. Oof. You heard that thing? I fart in your general direction. Here's the article. A judge has let rip at a woman who admitted to sending videos of her breaking wind to her boyfriend's ex. Rhiannon Evans, 25, is believed to be the first person to ever face charges for cyber farting over Christmas. She sent the videos to Deborah Pryderek, who said the videos caused her distress and anxiety. It was straight-faced prosecutor Diane Williams' job to describe how Evans proceeds to pass gas by placing the camera on her bottom and passing the gas. She sent 3 videos on December 22nd and another 4. Okay. Do we have to keep reading this? Let's see what happens. Okay, I'm just going to look, people. You know, it was, did she get charged? Yes. Okay. Yes. She had to go to court about it. She's claiming she was drunk. It was malicious. She was smirking throughout the videos. She was fined £300. England. It's England.
Probably some court costs and what, does she have to do community service or?
Evans will also have to carry out 15 rehabilitation sessions for her sphincter whistles and must abstain from alcohol for 2 months. She was also given a 2-year restraining order preventing her from contacting her victim in physical form, liquid form, or gaseous form.
Oh my God. And is she still with the boyfriend? Said he like so embarrassed he had to.
Maybe he's proud of her. I'm proud of you, honey. I'm really proud of you, honey. You really stuck up for me with your sphincter. I don't even know where. It's all Lord of the Rings, man. I don't even know where I'm going.
I don't know where you're going with that either. But
okay,
weird.
Well, there you go, people.
All right, Earth.
Yes, we did it. That was Beyond the News for this sesh. Wow. You know, I think the big takeaways are the AI is already designing chips that are thinking of things in a way that humans can't, therefore designing them in a way that's more efficiently. They're divining information to design them more efficiently. And we're noticing the results, but we don't understand the process. So, whoa, that's huge. And the new types of Quibid chips, like, my God, what's coming is so huge, but embrace it, love it. Let's make this place, this planet, the best planet it can possibly be. We report on this stuff, all the good, all the funny. We had to touch on that little bit of darkness to show you, to tell you, to help you understand that we need to push past that. We need to eliminate that. We need to make this planet a place for all humans, all people, anyone that manifests here. Will have the greatest, safest, most incredibly developmental experience. We can do that as humans. We see the darkness. We see that end of the spectrum. We can raise our vibration. Let's kick it up another octave or two and get far, far away from that. Brynn, what do you think about all of these articles? You have anything to say? Like, oh my God.
As usual, it's wild. I mean, I feel like every time we do Beyond the News, you're like, oh, this AI thing is this advanced and these qubits are this many and this is happening here. And it's like, it's exponential every single time.
Right.
And we only do it every 7 weeks. So I'm like, okay, so in 5 years, like what are these articles going to be? I mean, that's just kind of crazy to think about because it's happening really fast. And then also just to note that all of this stuff's already here. Like they, leak these little things out, but then like you caught in one of the articles, they used the word had, like they had to do this to make it happen. Meanwhile, the article is saying like it's about to happen, so it's like they're already creating this technology. They're saying, are there aliens? Are there aliens? And then there's an article saying, well, the aliens did this, so it's just
and the 415 million galaxies.
Wow. I know, that's crazy.
Oh my God. Well, this has been a long, fantastic episode. Just being together with you and hearing my voice, hearing Brynn's voice. We're here for you. We love you. We're sending you love. If you're hearing our voice, We're sending you love. We're sending you light. We want this planet to evolve. We want to get to a place where we can join that family of 415 million galaxies and more. We want to be able to resonate higher and join that galactic place. Go into that intergalactic life pool and connect with all life. We can do that. We have that ability. We're part of the life web. We're part of the web of life. And we just need to evolve. We will get there, but we need to do that. Brynn, thank you for being here. You're an incredible person. I really appreciate your presence.
As always, I appreciate being here. It was super fun, super informative, and
super strange.
Thank you. And super strange. But thanks again, and I'll see you next time.
Yes, next time you're here. And of course, check out her website, vitalforceherbs.com. 30% off, free shipping, discount code midnight. And do I need to have ketamine for PTSD from Beyond the News? Because sometimes I'm just like, wow, it kind of really affects me.
You need to go to the Mushroom Church in Colorado Springs.
Yeah, I need to chill out over there. You know what I mean? Have a DMT experience because we've got to stop. We've got to stop the darkness, people. We're the light. We're the candle in the dark. We're that light in the tower. We'll see you next week. Midnight on Earth.